Well, hello. Today's movie is the 1982 John Milius Arnold Schwarzenegger sword and sorcery movie, Conan the Barbarian.
A raiding party led by Thulsa Doom massacres a village and enslaves the children. One of the young children, young Conan, is forced to turn a wheel. When he becomes an adult, he is then later sold as a slave and sent to be a gladiator in pit fights. Later he's sent to study and train in the East before they decide to let him free. On his first bout of freedom, he has to fight a witch who tries to kill him. After killing her, he rescues her captive, a thief named Subotai. They go to the cities in the south and start a life as thieves. While breaking into the temple of Thulsa Doom, they meet Valeria. They have to fight off a giant snake, but manage to steal many riches. This, of course, gets them the attention of the king, who wants to hire them to rescue his daughter from Doom's cult. Conan is the only one interested because he wants to seek revenge against Doom. But he is captured and crucified on the Tree of Woe. Luckily, Valeria and Subotai rescue him. They save him with the help of a hermit wizard. After this, the three then go to kidnap the daughter and fight the evil in the temple. But Valeria is killed in the escape. Now, Conan and Subotai fight off the hordes of Doom, and they actually defeat him. Conan then goes to Doom's temple and confronts him in front of his followers, and decapitates him, and gets his revenge for his village and area.
So, Conan the Barbarian was originally created by Robert E. Howard. He was a pulp writer in the 1920s and 30s. And this is probably considered his finest creation. It was toward the end of his life. Sadly, he committed suicide at 30. And, obviously, later on in the 70s, Roy Thomas started adapting the character for Marvel Comics. And that's where it really started to gain in popularity. This is where, I discovered it as a little kid. I got Savage Sword of Conan Special Number 2, Color Edition, and I really fell in love with the character. And I loved the comics. It wasn't much later till I read the actual stories, but I found them also just brilliant. And I'm going to put a link in the description to my blogs, which have reviews for the books and the comic books. And this is obviously John Milius, who I love a lot of his movies. He wrote this with Oliver Stone, and it's he did a pretty good job of I think capturing the essence of the character. He obviously there's parts of the stuff that came directly from Howard's story. The crucifixion on the Tree of Woe was from A Witch Shall Be Born. And Valeria was a character, but he also combined it with another one called Belit from Queen of the Black Coast. And that was kind of Conan's first love. And she got killed tragically, and she came back though and saved him. So that was also in the movie. And Thulsa Doom is actually from another character called Kull, but they decided to adapt him to that. Made him a China Jim Jones snake cult type figure. And this was a really interesting movie. It was Arnold Schwarzenegger's kind of first big break, his first big movie as a star. It's what kind of established him as, a big action star in the 80s and 90s. I know they were originally like looking to make people like Charles Bronson, Sylvester Stallone, or William Smith. And, Charles Bronson, I love him as an actor, but no way could I see him as Conan. That just would have been one weird movie. Obviously, they went with Schwarzenegger, who was a bodybuilder, and he looked like he just stepped out of a Frank Frazetta painting, which is kind of the image that I think was pretty much ingrained in the culture. He did a lot for the book covers and comic book covers. And this is, probably one of the best of the sword and sorcery movies. I think it's a really great movie. I love it, everything about it, all the casting, the directing, the plot. It was filmed mostly in Spain. And it had like a budget of 20 million, but it had made 79 million, so it was a success for Dino De Laurentiis, and they also made a sequel to it, and they eventually made a kind of lesser thought of remake in the 2000s, and there was also like a short-lived TV series, live action, and a short-lived animated show for kids in the Saturday morning. And obviously this is a very popular character, and I think if you want a good sword and sorcery movie, this is the one to get. This is the one to watch. So thanks a lot for sticking with me. If you did, you're a unique individual.